Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. My bad. Today is Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. I hope you're safe and healthy on this Tuesday and that your family is safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the area of health, along with first responders, who every day are doing their best to save lives. Those also that pick up garbage to keep places and cities clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women that are trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children victims of child molestation and pedophilia. The ones that are out here trying to help the victims of prostitution, child prostitution, pornography, child pornography, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, profiteers, and perverts that cause their demands that create the need to have these industries exist. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. More than 700,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, military veterans, homeless in the United States of America. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. The Knicks lost last night. There was a basketball game at Madison Square Garden in the presence of the president, who I wish wasn't there. The Knicks lost 115-111. A 4-point game that really came down to three areas that are all correctable. Well, they are all correctable. The worst area, I don't want to say that either, but one of the bad areas was the referees. And how you could see that, the referees called fouls against the Knicks so that the Spurs took 32 free throws. The Knicks took 22 free throws. And the biggest problem with that, you expect like a team to get a lot of free throws if the other team is doing a lot of hacking. Usually in the NBA, it's about the same because both teams are playing the same way based on the tone the referees are setting. The Knicks had 46 points in the paint, and the Spurs had 44 points in the paint, which tells us that the Knicks were getting in the paint but not getting calls. That's not good. That's not good. And the NBA needs to look at this for the next game. Okay? That was not good. The second thing is the ball was not moving. Brunson was playing too much hero ball, and Karl Anthony Towns was not getting involved in the offense as much. He only took 10 shots, which cut off not only Towns, but Mikal as well. So Brunson went back to a bad habit last night. Maybe the presence of the president or the crowd, I don't know. But he scored a lot of points, but we lost. Okay? So you look at the free throws in a 4-point game, and it's a 10 free throw discrepancy. Okay? Also, because the ball wasn't moving, San Antonio had 28 assists. The Knicks had 18 because the ball wasn't moving. Okay? So these are areas that can be fixed. All right? Yes, San Antonio was aggressive. Yes, they played a great game. Yes, they're in the championship. Yes, we lost. But I think it's a good thing we lost. If we could stop all this foolish talk of sweep, that's disrespectful to the game, disrespectful to San Antonio, disrespectful to the championship of the league. Ain't gonna be no sweep. Okay? I was wondering if they were going to win a game. Okay, last night they won a game. And it's good because the Knicks get to, like Mikal said, refocus, look at the video, see how bad they played. Not only that, I'm watching the game, and Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart were playing Matador defense last night. And how that happens is both of these guys have a bad habit of, and Brunson does at times too, though I didn't see it as much from him. He did have 5 turnovers last night. That's because the ball wasn't moving. They need to focus on getting the basketball. Set picks. Do something. And let me continue on this diatribe. Brown said something a few weeks ago that bothered me, and it came to fruition last night. They were asking about his usage of Cat. And especially when we knew we were going to be playing the San Antonio Spurs. And they were talking about having Cat on the perimeter. And if they put a smaller player having Cat on the block, that's a no-no. And they tried to do it last night. Last night, the Spurs were using Stephon Castle. They were using the Vassell to guard Cat. And Cat immediately went to the low block. And he was immediately trying to give him the ball. But it's easier for the San Antonio Spurs to double team Cat on the low block. It's easier for Victor Wembanyama or somebody to stay in the area to help on him. Versus when he's on the top of the key or at the three-point line and he's got the ball hanging over his head. If they try to double him, it creates more space. Okay, so by having Cat on the block, you lose spacing, which is what works against the Knicks, which is what worked against him last night. Okay, so a couple of things. Part of the game plan is giving the ball to Cat and let him operate, let the offense operate with him as the hub. They went away from that last night. Shouldn't have done that. Second thing, because he had a smaller player on him, you don't automatically put him on the block. It's a trap, which is what they did last night. And they fell into the trap. You keep him at the top of the key, even if a midget's on him, because he can see the whole floor. It opens the floor, and then you get more better passing. Okay? Defensively, they could have done better defensively. Victor Wembanyama is going to be a problem regardless. They should have been a little bit more aggressive, and this is where the referees came in. They tried, but the refs kept calling stupid fouls on us. And like I said, San Antonio got 10 more free throws than the Knicks in a 4-point game. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. And it was 24-8 in the second half in terms of calls. That's not cool. That's not cool. So there are a couple of things. Josh Hart and Mikal got to keep their head out there behind defensively. The ball should be pushed to the side, not allowed to go down the middle. Both the boy Harper and Stephen Castle were getting into the middle and getting layups on both of them. You can't be looking for help all the time when they got a guard Wembanyama. But that's the strategy. They've been using this strategy since they started winning, pushing everybody outside of the lane. And then you can get more help from somebody that's standing at the three-point line. But you can't get it when you're allowing them to, especially these two. Because look here, we already knew they're going, Stephen Castle's not a great shooter from the three-point line. And neither is Harper. Harper was 1 of 8 from 3. Castle was 2 of 5 from 3. You want them shooting threes. Okay, you don't want Victor Wembanyama, who was 2 of 4 from 3. You don't want him. You want them. And then De'Aaron Fox was 0 for 5 from the three-point line last night. You don't want Devin Vassell shooting threes. So this is why you push them outside. That's the game plan they've been using. They didn't use it last night. Hopefully the president, Orange Man, never comes to another game because he messed us up too. Okay, I blame him too. So, yeah, we need a little bit better refereeing. And I'm not saying, we don't have to whine about it to the refs. I mean, it should be very much closer in the championship series in terms of free throw disparity. Not 10. That's too much. Okay, that's not a good one. And then keeping the people outside our paint by pushing them to the sideline. And then offensively getting the ball to Cat and moving out the way. That's what we've been doing. All of a sudden last night, some reason, Brunson decides to play hero ball. That was a bad move. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know why he did it. I don't know what's going on with it in his mind, but that's the game right there. So Cat gets a total of 10 shot attempts. He scores 11 points and gets 8 boards. Why? Because he wasn't involved. He has to be the focal point. I've been saying this a while now. He's got to be the focal point. And in fact, it was killing me. I'm watching him play the game, and I'm hearing Big Perk say, Brunson needs to pass the ball. Brunson needs to pass the ball. See, yeah, they need to get Cat the basketball and just cut. That's what you need to do. The Spurs have no answer for that. When you start trying to play hero ball, you feed right into the media hype about Brunson and everything, and they're ready for that. Okay, but that everybody has to play their role. Brunson's role is to get the ball to Cat, then score off ball. That's his role. Come fourth quarter time, when you're tired, you could take over. But in the beginning of the game, got to go to Cat. Now, even with that, the Knicks were playing very well in the beginning of the game. Yes, San Antonio got a 33-22 lead to start the first quarter. That's not a good sign, but I wasn't worried about that because I knew the Knicks were going to make a run, and they did. Second quarter, the Knicks, outscored them 42-24 and more than made up the deficit and went to halftime with a lead. That's when I was like, oh, this is the Knicks we know. But then for some reason, third quarter, they left game plan. And that was it. And then fourth quarter, San Antonio outscores the Knicks by 3 ball game. There you go. So what we saw last night was a Spurs team that belongs in the finals and played like it. Okay? We didn't see our Knicks team. Not the way we play ball. Not the way we've been playing for 14 straight wins. This was good. I'm glad it happened because they need to look at what they're doing and get back to basics. That's really what any team does that. Okay? But the Knicks more so because we have a game plan that has been proven in 14 straight wins to work. So they got to get back to the game plan. San Antonio can't do nothing about if you set picks to get Cat open at the top of the key and he gets the basketball. It's a wrap. Okay? And you do that every time down. It's a wrap. I heard again Legler. I don't know what he's seeing, but he's like, the Knicks have nobody to bring the ball up against I was like, I don't know what you're seeing, man. I was like, what is he talking about? Because the Knicks been doing this since they decided to go to Cat. Take Brunson off ball, and it works. But last night, Brunson wasn't doing that. And then he was saying, Legler, oh, you need the best ball handler. Brunson's not the best ball handler. Okay? He's a point guard, but he's not the best ball handler they got. So between Hart, Mikal, OG, all guys he named that can't bring the ball up, which is BS. And then, of course, off the bench, Shamet and Deuce. All of them could bring the ball up. All of them. Okay? So we need to keep doing that. And that's a basic. Go back to that. Stop trying to bring the ball up against pressure, Jalen. And let's get the ball to Cat once it crosses half court. And get it across the timeline as quickly as you can so that you got more time, more than 16 seconds, 17, 18 seconds on the clock with Cat with the ball. Okay? So that's a fix. It can be fixed. And what I like about it is really San Antonio can't do nothing about it. If you don't fall into the trap of trying to play hero ball, we got this. Okay, I'm glad they lost last night because now they can look at that film and get back to the basics. Again, without the ball moving, you have short-circuited Mikal Bridges. And then Cat's calling for the ball and you're not giving it to him, he's going to stop calling for it. That's what happened last night. Okay, so you want your boys engaged the whole game, and the point guard's responsibility is to keep them engaged the whole game, not take how many shots he took and have 5 turnovers. He took 25 shots and got 5 turnovers. Great stats for him. L for us. Okay? No. And that's what I'm saying. So y'all get caught up in this media hype about individual stats. We just need one stat to come through. Dub. That's it. Anything else, whatever. We need a W. I don't care how many points he scored. We saw a game earlier this year where Brunson took like 6 shots and the Knicks were beating somebody by like 40 when they started going to Cat. They could do this to San Antonio when they start going to Cat. But Wembanyama can't handle him. He can't. Okay? So we just need to get back to that. Get back to forcing drivers to the outside of the lanes, one to the sidelines. Okay? And we need to get in their paint, which the Knicks did. 46-44 means we was in their paint. Okay? And we need the refs to come correct. Because they're going to start throwing games like this. It's crazy. Okay? That was crazy. They've been throwing Knicks players around and pushing and not getting called for it. Somebody should point this out at the legal level. Okay? So that's that. Especially this rookie Carter Bryant, he seemed to think he a linebacker. This is basketball. Okay? So anyway, I'm glad they lost. I still think Knicks in 6 or 5. I want to see the corrections for Wednesday night. Okay? And I'm very confident they'll make them. I'm very confident they will. So now the Spurs earned at least a split in New York. But the Knicks already swept them in SA, right? So if the Knicks could win Wednesday, we come back to San Antonio up 3-1. Last night, the pressure was on the Spurs. Everybody's talking about the pressure's on the Knicks. That's just media hype. Spurs were down 0-2. If they'd have lost last night going into Wednesday down 0-3, I'm sorry. It's a wrap. But they were going to come out. They came out with everything. They did the right thing last night. And Brunson helped them by going away from game plan. And so did Hart and so did Mikal by having their head in their behind trying to play defense. We need to get correct. Tip-offs at 8:30, like Brunson would say. Be ready to play at 8:30. I'm pretty confident we'll be all right. See, I'm glad, though, because y'all is going crazy with this 4-0 sweep and Knicks in 4. Come on, y'all. This is the finals. This is the league, okay? It ain't going to be that easy. But they could do it. So we'll come back Wednesday night, see the corrections, go from there, okay? Y'all enjoy your Tuesday. Don't let this upset you. It ain't the end of the world. They lost a basketball game. They're still up 2-1. Don't let the media act like they're down 2-1. They're up 2-1. Okay? And we still got another game at MSG Wednesday. Enjoy. Be safe. Shalom.